Uh, so you want to be a product developer, eh? You want to do it tip to tail. You want to design it, do the mechanical stuff. You want to figure out the software, maybe steal a few packages here and there. No one's looking. Why not? You want to be tip to tail. You want to be a full stack engineer. You want to make things happen for people. You want to make dreams come true. You want to take things, you want to pluck them out of someone's mind and provide them with a final solution, something that they've always wanted. You want to see that smile on their face when they get exactly what they want. You want to feel that you've birthed a part of yourself that is going to exist outside of you for time immemorial to come. You are going to be a god. You are going to make things real for people. Well, let me tell you about it. Let me tell you about the reality of it. It's Mother's Day, and I just got a call from what has become my only client. And that's something that I've been against for a long time. The whole eggs in one basket thing. It's not the safest way to go, especially as a freelancer, because if you lose favor, as I did just now, you find yourself woefully, completely unemployed and without prospects. So, tip number one is always have at least two gigs going. I mean, I've got some stuff coming and going, and I'm gonna be okay. I'm not where I was a bunch of years ago, where this was like, oh crap, how am I gonna make rent? Like, I'm not gonna, like I got fat. There's some cheek fat there, right? I'm in an office, but that's tip number one. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Tip number two, make sure that your client is engaged. I mean, really engaged. Like they really want this thing, whatever it is, whatever you're working on. Make sure you can see the fire in their eyes. Make sure you know that they really, really want it, because it's not as simple as just hiring someone like you or like me and saying go. It doesn't just work like that. It takes an engaged stakeholder. You need someone who cares, who has the final say. The person that pays the bills needs to tell you exactly what they want as you go, because that's product development, baby. That is R&D. You figure out as you go what the next thing is. And so it's not as simple as saying I want this widget and I'll see you in 6 months. It's saying I want this, and they come back and say that's available, and you say, oh, okay, well we can save money here, and they say, yeah, and you could have this functionality, and they say, oh wow, you could have this specific group of people work with you. And you need an engaged sponsor, an engaged stakeholder, and if you don't have it, walk away. I don't care if they're offering you a whole bunch of money. I mean, okay, take their money for a little while, why not? Which brings me to tip number three, grow a thick skin. And it's really difficult, I'll tell you, because you care so much. This is your baby. You take it on. It's yours. You get excited. You wake up in the middle of the night and think about a new problem to solve, a new part of it that you figured it out, and you're excited to go implement it the next day. It's your baby. And the thing is that the client can just kill it. They can call it sunk cost and cut ties and be done with it. I'm not going to say that it hasn't happened to me numerous times, because it has, and it'll happen to you too. So grow your thick skin as much as you can. I've seen projects go 80%. I've shown amazing, cool functionality, you know, and it still gets cut. Maybe you didn't wave your hands just right as you showed them the deliverable. Maybe you added something that they say, oh well, now that makes it more complicated for me. And you're like, well, that doesn't need to be there. It's just, it's just showing you what else we can do. And, for any number of reasons, they can just decide, project's over, we're done. So grow a thick skin. What else did you want to know? Save your money. Hmm. So let me just, maybe I'll try to give you a bit more detail about what exactly is going on for me now. I've just spent the last year working on a robot for a client, a robotic cameraman. Very cool technology. We're using VR tracking, so those lighthouse-based wall sensors, and so we use the VR tracking from the external with a little tracker that's on the robot. So we always know exactly where the robot is within the room and what its orientation is. From there, we allow it automatically, uh, intelligently navigates from a given position to the requested position. So in the case that we were working on initially, it's for news studios where you don't want to have a cameraman on the camera. You could just say, hey, go to the weather desk, and the robot will dutifully make its way to the weather desk using uh, the room sensors for positioning, as well as LiDAR for collision avoidance, and some really interesting intelligence for orientation. On top of all that, the coolest thing that I thought was just the bee's knees is these omnidirectional wheels. The thing can strafe sideways, but more importantly, it can spin as it moves. All of this together was the first step of something I was getting really, really excited about, which was the idea of bringing this technology into film and TV. Because, yeah, it's one thing for a newsroom to not have to have anyone on the floor and send a camera from news to weather. But it's a completely other thing to say, hey, that dolly shot you were doing in that film, you don't need a track for that anymore. This robot will dutifully recreate the same path over and over again, down to the millimeter, and with the same timing and everything that you could do live compositing, you could do post compositing. You get the entire data stream of the robot's position at any given time, for some really cool effects that would have been possible, and I was getting really excited about that. But the client lost faith, and the project is over. Grow a thick skin. Save your money. What else do you want to know? Hmm. Learn how to present really well. Find a way, and this is something I don't even know how to do. I haven't figured it out myself yet, but I know it's probably a big missing piece of the whole operation here. That if you can't get someone excited about something that you're delivering, if you can't show them the magic in the thing that you're delivering, it's just not going to work out. And it comes back to point number one of having an engaged sponsor. Yeah, like, you wouldn't have to put the fairy dust on it if they really cared about what was going to be the end result. If they were truly invested, and this was the only thing they really, really cared about, and everything else was just background noise, you could deliver it any kind of way. So maybe that point's not as important. Maybe that's just me being bitter. But yeah, it could be important. Learn the razzle dazzle. Show them the magic. What are we on? Number five, four? The next tip, and this is really important, no matter what project you get yourself into, and how much you absolutely care about this project, and how much you want to see it succeed for the client, for yourself, for the end user, don't forget what you really cared about. Don't forget that you weren't doing this project before they came along. And so it's definitely not your number one priority, aside from being able to make money and survive. So always keep an eye on the things that you want to be working on and don't let go of them. Don't let them fall to the wayside and get all dusty and downtrodden and covered in dirt and you forget exactly what it was. Keep working on those things. Set aside time. I know it's difficult. You know, you got to make those billable hours. You want to make the money. You want to keep the project going forward. You want to show results. But don't lose what you care about. Keep working on your personal projects. Those are the ones that are going to get you the next client because they're the ones you're passionate about. So always keep working on the things that you care about. And be loud. Do things you love doing. Show that passion. And that's how you'll move forward. Goodness knows that's how I've gotten it, you know? I spent I spent years doing stupid stuff like my son started playing with this. This is an old roller from the business card roller. I don't know if any of you guys will remember it, but like I spent 2 years working on stupid stuff like that I just couldn't stop. I loved it. And those were the seeds of my first clients, the first things that made me real money that turned this into a career for me. So don't forget about your passions and don't let them fall aside. Because when someone decides to pull the rug, at least you'll have something. At least you won't have forgotten. And I think I've done a decent job at that. I'm not this isn't me, oh kid, you're young, you can make it and look at me, I'm all washed up. That's not the case. I just think it's important and something worth mentioning. Yeah. And at the end of the day, let's say number 5, although it's probably the wrong count. Um, Understand that anytime you're being paid to learn something, it's a win. In this case, I got paid to learn robot operating system, open source robot operating system, an existing ecosystem of packages and ready-made code that just makes everything robot building related kind of awesome and fun. And that always happens, you know? If you've got the confidence to sell yourself as a generalist who is willing to learn and you are excited about someone's project and they're excited for you to do it and they're happy to pay you to, maybe not learn from the ground up, but to sharpen your skills in a certain direction, that's a win. You're being paid to learn. And not many people get a chance to do that, you know? You go to school, it's the opposite way, in a big way. You pay tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars. In this case, you get paid to learn, you get paid to follow your own interest. And that's really what being a freelancer is all about. So I hope these lessons have helped you, and maybe you'll see me more on this channel. Because it's been a year-long sprint. I had a baby as well, so that's taken a bit of time. He's a year old now, and it's just adorable, and I love him. But maybe you will see more of me on this channel now that things are going to slow down for a little bit. Maybe some really different content. Might be building a house this summer and a workshop, so that's pretty sexy. Uh, yeah, thanks for watching. If you did, um, best of luck. See you next time.